right? A couple weeks ago, a bunch of guys, we went out and did the bachelor party. And tamest bachelor party in the world, by the way. We are all getting old. So at some point during the weekend, Joe turns to myself and his brother Jeff, and he says, "Hey, you guys got to go get fitted for your tuxes." And I go, "I guess I'm in the wedding." At that point in time, I was thinking, all right, well, I need to think through. I need to be able to, at some point during the weekend, I'm going to want to say some words. And I'm talking to Joe a couple days ago. He goes, "I know you are going to give the funniest toast ever," right? So no pressure.
There's what?
That would be good. So,
I know, but my wife's
so it was
coming
funny. I
back
was sitting
down.
at a rehearsal dinner last night. I was really amazed, actually. I've known Joe almost 10 years. And it was actually July of 2000. Joe called me in response to a roommate wanted it. We were putting together a house of 4 people to live together for business school up in Michigan. And so Joe and I were roommates for 2 years, and then follow on in Chicago for 3 years. So, getting to know Joe in the early years was really interesting. It was a real dichotomy when I think about it. At one point you had this guy. He was a sales guy, right? He was real estate, and he lifted weights, and he always had the protein powder lying on his head. And then he had this booming voice, which I know everybody knows. You'll go to a party or you'll go to a bar with Joe. If he's anywhere in the room, and you could be, down there, at some point you're going to hear something like, "Oh my!" Booming voice of Joe. And everybody here knows that because we all laugh at the same time. So on the one hand, he had that, and then on the other hand, it was really interesting. Like, for example, I never met a guy with so many hair and moisturizing products. And I think our good friend Mike Mahaffey told a story last night. They went on a whitewater rafting trip before business school, and everyone every day would get a bar of soap and take a bath in the river, and then go back and put their clothes on, but Joe would be covering himself in moisturizer.
That's where we're supposed to go with that.
Real dichotomy there. So the question was, everyone that met Joe, and I would say the entire business school knew Joe pretty soon. They were all like, "Who is this guy?" Right? And I was thinking the same thing myself. But over 2 years, we had a great business school experience. Joe was always at the center of a lot of fun. Parties, ski trips, he'd be the guy that goes backcountry, right? We do tailgates at the football games. He's always at the best tailgates. We do cookouts, and he's always the one roasting the turkey, right? He loved that deep fryer turkey. At one point, he went on a rugby trip. Crazy story. He rode a bull. He rode a bull in sort of a rodeo, and he lasted about 3 seconds. It's an amazing video. You should ask me. I remember his dad asked me afterwards, "Joe broke his ankle doing that, didn't he?" Which it was pretty funny. So getting to know Joe, and it wasn't true. He did not break his ankle. But getting to know Joe during business school, those of us that were close to him, we love to take advantage of some of his characters. Character, or whatever you call him. But, as we know, Joe's really competitive, right? So some good stories. I know, those of us that are close to him, we love to beat him at whatever, right? So I used to play ping pong with him every night. And we had a ping pong table, and I used to beat him all the time, which is great. At one point, I broke my wrist, and I came home with a cast on my good hand, and I had to play with my offhand, right? And I beat him in ping pong in my offhand. Highlight. John Rodowitz tells a good story how they were playing a video game at 2 in the morning, and Joe was losing, and he got so mad he threw the controller, and John made him go buy a new controller at 2 in the morning so they could finish the game. Good times in business school, great relationships, and after 2 years, a little helping in an Excel class, we were all able to graduate on time, and it was a great experience, right? So after business school, I had the good fortune. I lived with Joe for another year in Chicago. We were both kind of kicking off our careers. Again, great times. I remember a great party that he and I threw. I think he made a bucket of mojitos, and just really good times. And after that, I actually moved to Michigan, and Joe and I were great friends. We continued to talk on the phone. I came to visit a lot, and after about a year, I started hearing about Sara. I'm hanging out with this girl, Sara. I'm like, "Who is this girl?" Right? And he's talking about her more and more. He's like, "Hey, Mark, I really like this girl. We always laugh together. We have the best time all the time." And so it was kind of nice being at the beginning, even though I wasn't living there, to kind of see them at the beginning all the way to the end. And it was also nice to see how that relationship is changing, by the way. So let's talk about an early time in that relationship, right? So Sara was is in law school, right? And she did not have a washer dryer in her place, I think. So she used to come over and do her laundry at Joe's. And Joe, this is what Joe said to me. He says, "Is that what they call it?" He said, "You know, she comes over." Do her laundry, and Joe said, "Well, you know, she's fine doing laundry, but if I have laundry in there, she's got to finish it, right?" So he goes, "So this is what I do. Right before she comes over, I always throw a quick load of laundry in." So things were going well in Chicago. Eventually, they both decided to move to Austin, right? And so actually, Joe told me the other week that it was 3 years ago, exactly today, that they crossed over the Texas state line moving to Austin, and then it would be 3 years ago exactly tomorrow when they officially entered the city limits of Austin. So. Amazing how times have changed, right? So first of all, Joe, he's on a vegan diet. Can anyone tell me if he's been to the gym in the last year, right? Right? And you know, and he brags to me. He's like, "Man, you know, I'm settled down. You know, I'm here for good." And I noticed that Sarah's taking control of this relationship. Well, I think yesterday we were at over to her house 2 days ago, maybe, or yesterday, and Joe said to me, "I've got to get packed for, you know, Sara told me I have to be packed before she gets home. If I'm not packed, you know, it's going to be trouble. So I got to go. I got to get packed real quick, right?" So, and I think we all know maybe that's for the brothers.
He's packed.
He is packed. Yeah. But kidding aside, you know, I think when I think about Joe and Sara, the one thing I think about is the word class, right? I mean, just look at this event today, just classy. You know, I look at the two of them, and you know, excuse me, I get a little nervous. You know, two people, you know, work hard in school. They're doing great career-wise, and you love hanging out with both of them, right? They're not flashy, but you just love being around them. So I'd say the two of them are classy. And then, excuse me, hold on a sec. When I think about my good friend Joe, the loyalty, you know. So we all have friends, right? Friends of varying degrees, some close, not some so close. And when you need something from a friend, you know, it depends on how close you are, whether or not they're really going to help you out, you know. So some friends come with caveats. They'll help you out, you know, they'll help you out if it's convenient for them, right? So Joe's a friend that has no caveats. And everybody here, I think that we all want to congratulate the two of them. I couldn't find a couple meant to be together more, and really wish you guys all the best.
Thank you.